Well, I'm still live.
Maggie, you look very serious in that promo shot there.
No nonsense, Duval.
That's right.
You're like the lead singer. You're like,
Live from the Plutopia News Network, this is the Plutopia Happy Hour. Our guest tonight is Michael Notarthomas. The not ready for cable news players are here. Susie, well, not Susie, Maggie Duvall. I'm Scoop Sweeney, and that guy over there is John Lubkowski.
Yes, and we are an ultra right wing source of propaganda about whatever you can think of.
All right, John, we're cutting you off. No more wine for you.
Okay, I'll shut up. But who's going to do the talking?
Oh, you're
Maggie.
Wait a minute. Wait, I thought you were going to ask some questions. Okay, so yeah, how we're going to start this up. So,
Well, we should introduce Michael. We should just
yeah, that would be handy.
do the typical introduction where we say who he is. Michael
right.
Notarthomas is a singer. He's a songwriter. He's a guitarist, and he's a musician. I guess a guitarist is a musician. Originally from Syracuse, New York, but he's moved to Austin, Texas. So he's become part of the huge Austin, Texas music scene.
yep.
Michael, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, how long have you been in Austin?
Since about 2000 was when I moved here. Yeah, it's been a while. Yepper.
2
Yep.
decades.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Well, what brought you to Austin? Why did you move here?
I guess I always wanted to move somewhere. And I finally did. And I guess I wanted to play music, and I knew there was a really good music scene here. There always has been. And I also used to work doing sign language for deaf folks, and I worked for the School for the Deaf for about 10 years. And there's also a big deaf population here. So those were my main reasons,
So are you doing some interpreting too?
Well, I've done it in the past. I'm not doing any now anymore. But yeah, I've done that.
So when you moved here, kind of thinking about the music scene, were you at all let down, or was the music scene everything you hoped it would be?
Oh, there's just so much going on here. Like, no matter what kind of music you're into, it's here. I certainly wasn't let down. In fact, I learned a lot about music, things that I probably never would have heard, maybe had I not come here.
Did you play with a band?
Yeah, I've played with a lot of different people and done a lot of solo gigs. I used to have a band called Tombstone Bullies, and we played all around the Texas Hill Country and Austin area. Did a little touring, and then since then I've been mainly doing my own thing, and I partner up with other people and I play guitar for them, and just whatever's needed.
Do you do a lot of solo shows?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did a house concert with Maggie when she had the tree house in Austin.
How did that go?
Good. It was fun. There's a video online of that, actually.
On YouTube.
Yep,
Yeah, and you had a warm up group too that has done pretty well for themselves, I think.
yeah, they've done okay.
Okay, I sense there's something hidden in that conversation.
There's there are three youngsters. They're siblings. They're called The Girl Named Tom, and everyone in the world's probably heard of them by now. But when they played here in Austin, they actually opened for me and my trio, and it was a super fun night. They were really, really nice kids, and they have since gone on to The Voice and gotten, a lot of big opportunities with that. So next time I'll probably be opening for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was their name again?
Girl named Tom.
The girl named Tom.
Yeah, and they actually won The Voice. So I think they're the first trio in history that won. And yeah, so there you go.
Well, if it's The Voice, it sounds like they should have all been on the show called The Voices if there's three.
Right.
That's cheating.
Right?
Right. So what I'm curious about songwriting and the songwriting process, but first I wanted to ask you so how long have you been a musician, and then what compelled you to go into learning sign language?
I've been playing music since I was like 16. And I've been writing songs since I first started playing guitar. Right when I first started playing, I started writing. Not that any of those songs were any good, or made it. I don't think I have any of those anymore. But at any rate, I've just been playing all along, playing, writing, singing, doing different things. I guess at some point, maybe the mid 90s or something, I was kind of looking for a career path apart from music and apart from my illustrious, retail and warehousing career, and I started learning sign language, and it was a fun thing, and I wound up doing a lot of volunteer work and so on and so forth.
Right.
Oh, there's my SoundCloud page.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody saw that.
Yeah.
Are you on Bandcamp too?
Not yet. I haven't set that up yet. The main one I've been focusing on right now is my YouTube page, which is still in its fetal form. I'm very, very, just beginning on it. But I'm working on it. I've got a bunch of songs on there.
Do you want to share with us one of your songs you've put up there recently? Anything come to mind you'd like to share?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Here's one called the Mosquito Song. This one is actually the song about songwriting, and I think all songwriters have that song, so this is mine. Another long and lonely day. Get my pen and try to write down what I think I had to say. Oh no, it's on its way again. Gone again, gone again, gone again, gone again. Think I decided what to sing. I notebook, throw it open, and I think I'm on the way. Oh no, it's on its way again. Gone away, gone away, gone away, gone away. Through the longest summer, through the driving wind, ain't nothing new, dragging on again. Through the coldest winter, all right, keeps that mosquito buzzing around my brain. Second verse is on the way. Maybe not, maybe I'll wait another day. Oh, it's on its way again. Gone again, gone again, gone again, gone again. Through the longest summer, through the driving wind, ain't nothing doing, dragging on again. Through the coldest through the pouring rain, can't catch that mosquito buzzing around my brain. Speaking of buzzing, I'm hearing some feedback or something here. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys-
we're hearing it too. Not sure where it's coming from.
There's a shortened version of that one.
Scoop, try muting and see if that.
I already did. I think. Are you running through a sound system, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, there may be some sort of a loose connection or
Well, why don't I take
a lot of white noise going on there.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
There it
Okay.
goes.
Ah, okay.
Fantastic.
So I don't know if you could even hear that last song or not.
We could hear it. The sort of odd static was sort of building there. And I guess the best way to think about it is that it was part of your song.
Hey, Brian Eno would have turned it into a hit record there. Little ambient noise is always good for a song.
Yeah, it started out clear and then the static started building. That was weird. I haven't experienced that one before.
Well, if it happens again, I'll switch my microphone.
I did go to the window to check to see if there was a UFO hovering nearby, and I didn't see anything. So,
Yeah, but I feel your pain. Working with so many bands over the years, I was always the one that would be doing sound when something blew up, and I had to take the blame.
It's especially fun when you're on stage and everything goes wrong with the sound, right? And the audience doesn't understand usually. I mean, unless there's like sound engineers out there that get it. Otherwise,
I mean, the truth is, the audience usually doesn't even notice.
right. But if they do, they just think the band sucks.
Or they think you're being very experimental.
But we were doing, I was playing, what is it? Cheap Sunglasses. You know that song by ZZ Top?
Yeah.
And one of the things I found out about that song when I was researching it is that the amplifier, when they were recording that song, the amplifier had blown a tube. And they left it in because it sounded pretty good. You know?
Cool.
I think they call that lo-fi now.
It's like happy accidents.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's sort of a palate cleanser. So before you play another song, and hopefully without the microphone, was there I remember being a kid, and I think like I knew my brother and his friends are all musicians, and so there was like a defining moment for each of them when they decided they wanted to be a musician, and they started with it. Did you start with guitar? Did you start with another instrument? And was there a defining moment for you, or it was like, dang, this is what I want to do?
Not really. I mean, it took me till like 16 to finally decide I wanted to try to play the guitar. I had tried numerous times, and that's typical of any beginner guitar. It's like you just think it's impossible and you'll never get good. So I took a few trial runs before it kind of stuck. And once it did, though, it became like a lifelong obsession where I just play constantly, and I think that's also typical of guitar players. They just sit in the room for hours and play, right?
Right.
Yeah, one of my old guitar players said he didn't really get serious until he had developed enough calluses on his fingertips to put up with those metal strings.
Right. Well, yeah, that's needed for sure.
Was there a specific genre or genres that you started out playing that you liked better than others, or did you play everything?
Let's see. Starting out, I played crap when I started out.
That's a popular form of
Which
music
particular
now.
flavor of crap? Like what's one of the
still-
crappiest ones?
Oh God, well, I like I said, I started right out trying to write,
Yeah.
and like I had nothing to go on other than a couple chords that I knew. And I was young. I was like 16, like I said, and the lyrics weren't brilliant, you know. And it's a lifelong process. I still write and play crap sometimes. Um, it's just whatever comes up.
How about you share what went into the process of writing one of your favorite songs you've done and then play it for us?
Oh, well, let's see. One of my favorite songs. Okay, this one is called Mockingbird Station, and I guess it was a friend of mine just kind of liked the sound of the word Mockingbird Station and said, you should write a song about that, whatever
The
that
post
means.
office, right?
It is here in Austin, and
Our post office.
someone just kind of threw that at me, like, write a song about that. And I thought, okay, cool. And I imagined this place, and this was, it was kind of coming from a place of feeling like, we get kind of lost in modern society and we get overwhelmed with all the home entertainment and all this, and like life can get kind of crazy and confusing. And so I was thinking about simpler times. And the thing about it though is that it's not meant to be political. It's just meant to be thinking about, because I grew up at a time when old fashioned was still a thing. I don't know if that even still exists anymore, but anyway, so this is called Mockingbird Station. Down here in Mockingbird Station, I saw them lining up. Millions of people who finally decided they'd had enough. I hear you calling. I hear you calling and calling. I hear you calling. The light of everything. I hear that buzz again. So I think it's got to be my setup here. So let me switch to my MacBook Pro microphone, and hopefully that'll eliminate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then feel free to start again.
Can you still hear me?
Mhm.
Yep.
Outside on porches, there's voices and children running high. Inside the houses are darkened and quiet for the night. I hear you calling. I hear you calling, calling. I hear you calling. fill them with singing through the night. I hear you calling. I hear you calling, calling. I hear you calling. In light of everything. It's a shortened version of it.
Very nice.
Thank you. So, and we're not hearing any hiss, any shh.
You
That's
fixed it.
Yes, yes.
Good.
So one of the things that we've you and I have discussed is this the possibility of the power of music for healing, and I'm really interested in the two different approaches you're going into. The first I'd like to talk about is the guitar lessons you're working on. It's something to do with helping people with problems with. Anyway, tell us about that.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find students that have hand and arm disabilities, and also, you know, it doesn't have to be limited to hand and arm. It can be PTSD, or it could be home confinement or some other disability. And I think, you know, especially with hand and arm disabilities, maybe people missing fingers or something like that, I think the tendency is to think that there's no way I'm going to be able to play guitar. And I basically am showing them that no, there is a way, and you can play guitar. You know, you guys may have heard of Django Reinhardt. He's one of the greatest, you know, some people consider him the greatest guitar player. I mean, he was amazing, and he only used 2 fingers on the fretboard. So it's like, there's a whole lot you can do. And so that's the idea there, is basically allowing people that maybe think they can't play guitar to be able to play it. And so I do that with my lessons anyway. I like to teach adults. And a lot of times when you learn an instrument, you want to start when you're young, and then by the time you're older, you're really proficient. And so a lot of people think, well, I didn't start young, and so I'm old now, and I'll never be able to play. And the truth is, you can. It just, you know, it's just ways of approaching it, really. How to look at it, how to approach practicing, how to approach how you think about it. You know, because a lot of times you see these people playing on stages, and they make the guitar look super easy, and that's because to them it is, but that's also because they've been practicing for years and years, right?
Right.
So the idea is to say, yes, you can too, but you can't compare yourself to those people. You can be inspired by it, though, I think.
Right.
I've definitely been there. And then the other thing is, I'm doing a sound and healing workshop with my friend Olivia Astrid of the Hearth Holistic Healing Center out in Spicewood, Texas. And she's a trained healer. She has degrees from the Barbara Brennan School of Healing, and, you know, massage therapy and therapist and all this kind of stuff. And so we've kind of teamed up, and we're using sound and also music to basically facilitate healing, going within yourself and finding out what's there. And I think we all know the power of music. We all have songs that you can probably think of off the top of your head that unexplainably make you feel good, right? Mm-hmm. Or that you always remember, or that bring up memories. You know, some songs take you back to when you were, 15 or 20 or whatever, and hanging with your friends, and it's like it just happened last night when you hear the song. So just kind of looking at that, and looking at not just music but sound itself, and sort of exploring sound.
Yeah, so beyond sort of the sound healing with the bowls, that that's a big thing right now, is just the but yeah, different sounds, tones, and all that.
Yeah, and I mean literally any sound. Like it could be a car going by. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it could be a bird singing. It could be a chainsaw a couple doors over. You know,
Right.
and the idea is to look at the sound and really listen to it and understand it. You know, that sound is kind of its own thing, and I think a lot of people. Well, I don't know, but my feeling is that a lot of people understand it passively. So the idea is that we be looking at it sort of intently.
When I
So,
Right.
first started working in radio, I was uh, made aware of the fact that music can really help people. You know, if they're having problems, I would get calls from people wanting to hear a specific song or artist, and they were really insistent that they really needed it because they were having trouble. They were, they were depressed. They were, you know, just needing to hear this music, and it was all kinds of music. It was a very personal thing. So I think the healing power of music is, you know, rest in the individual. You know, because some people they wanted to hear heavy metal, and I'm like, okay. Others wanted to hear classical or jazz, and so it's a very personal thing.
it is, you know, I mean, I've had my moments where, you know, maybe I'm feeling down and the heaviest thing I can find is just right, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, so, you know, I think it works. It works. So, yeah,
I think I do some work with sound for brainwave entrainment. So you can have specific frequencies that will work, especially if you use light too, like flashing lights to entrain the brain. And I'm also aware of some healing sound work, um, which I think is probably related to this idea of brainwave entrainment by people like Jonathan Goldman. Are you familiar with Jonathan Goldman? Do you?
No. Yes.
It's a little more. It's a little more new agey than what I think you're working with, uh, but there are people out there who are creating various sort of musical scenes where they represent it as healing music. Some of it is like Reiki related, or you know, like energy related, or yoga related. Um, and I think it all sort of works.
We're kind of doing all of that. Like, it's not the musical end of it isn't so much music as it is notes
Mm-hmm.
and exploring the notes individually and really paying attention to what it is. I mean, it's like we all know the story. If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, did it make a sound, right? And so the idea there is that once the tree hits the ground, it makes this huge noise, right? But then the tree is down and a mile away, you can still hear the sound. So it's like the sound is really its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess one of the tools we use, Olivia and I, is thinking about sounds as though they were coming from things that weren't making them. You know, like imagine the sound of a car going by as some weird instrument or something, you know, and it kind of helps to reframe it and listen to the sound itself as opposed to associating it immediately with what's making the sound, you know.
Right. Yeah, that makes me think of the Bee Gees writing that song "Jive Talking," and they got the idea for the guitar from the going across the bridge, the sound the tires made. It was like, you know. So I always love that story. Anyway,
Yeah, and
yeah,
there's also that Neil Young song, the one, you know, how's it go? Whatever it is,
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon,
Harvest Moon, yeah.
Yeah.
and where there's literally a broom brushing, and that's what that
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I saw him play that live, and they actually had a rug up there with a guy with a broom, with a with a microphone on the broom.
That's awesome.
This makes me think about a story I once heard about how Brian Wilson had a bunch of people over for dinner and they were all sitting around the table and people were sort of clinking their spoons together. So he got them to start playing their spoons, basically.
Yep. Yeah, that's the idea, that kind of thing. It's really just an exploration in sound is what we're doing for what it's worth. You know?
Well, I guess
there
it
a
gets to the
song-
question of the difference between music and sound. I mean, you take sound and you shape it into, you use rhythm and you use melody to shape it into what becomes music. But it inherently is sound being processed in some way, right?
That just reminded me of 7th grade choral class. And the first day I was in there, our teacher said, so we're going to do an exercise. Is this sound or is this noise or is this music? And he put on Iron Man by Black Sabbath. I don't know why I remembered that. So is there a song where you've sort of applied some of this thinking that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, it goes like this. Let's see. Do I have anything?
I'm tempted to say, play Inagata Davida.
Right?
Freebird.
I guess, I don't know if I do have a song that talks about this specifically.
That's all right. Out sharing something that this is bringing to mind, maybe.
Well, I guess this is kind of unrelated, but I like it. This is a song I wrote. It's called Slow, and it's basically a song about, how fast-paced our society is, and it's like you're supposed to always be moving, doing, going, right? And oh, there goes that hissing again. So it's called Slow. But I do hear hissing again. I don't know if you guys hear it. I don't hear it now.
Yeah, you're okay.
Hold your horses, take it slow. Ease on up, slow as we go. People in too much of a hurry this town. Let it up, slow it down. Spend the day sleeping in an old oak tree. Not for you, wasn't for me. Running round wanting for a life to begin. Climb on up and let it on in. Load her up and low she goes. When she comes and nobody knows. Wind her up and let her spin. Going outside, coming back in. Once was a road along the old man's farm. Hammer it in and lower your arm. Birds sitting idle on a long black wire. Fly on up and never grow tired. And take it slow. Someday, drive on up that dirty highway. Let the man tell you're gonna be alright. Drive on back into the cold dark night. Gazing on the river in the midday sun. Where it goes and where it's begun. Sunlight slipping across the western sky.
There's that weird static again.
Yeah, I was hearing that.
There has to be.
Not during the song.
Not during the song, though.
You
Good.
just got to figure out how to incorporate the feedback.
That's right.
Right.
So,
Have you ever like guitar or set fire to? I'm thinking about those old shows that Jimi Hendrix and Pete Townsend used to do.
No, I've never set fire to my guitar. I did one time have an amp just spontaneously burst into flames on stage.
Yikes.
It was fun. But that's one of the things I like about playing music. It gives you a lot of opportunities and a lot of experiences that you might not have otherwise. So I look back on all that stuff and just laugh now. Even though at those time I was like, I've been practicing all week, right? And so
I guess the question is, what song were you playing that caused your amp to explode?
it was loud. I mean, I don't know. Don't remember.
So what are you, from what we've discussed in the past, you left a pretty soul-sucking job semi-recently and are exploring just different avenues of taking your music. So tell us a little bit about that. It sounds like you're running into people and networking and.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've had enough of the, punching in and clocking out. It's I don't know, working class hero, as they say. But I've just been, doing different things, playing gigs. And like I said, I play for other people, do sideman gigs, and I do sound sometimes for bands and teach lessons. And I'm working on this kind of healing thing and the guitar for disabled people and just all different things. Just trying to find the way to do it without a lot of musicians, they just kind of go for that. They're just trying to make it, it's like one path.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm, if that path came along, great, but I'm not gonna, stress about it because it's really hard doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do everything right and play the game and all this and work yourself up to really good gigs and so forth and big stages. And I don't know. I just find that it's also really exhausting doing that. So I'm kind of doing things the way I want to now.
Well, it would seem that would take you away from the thing you love, right? If you're focused more on playing the game instead of playing the music. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also because of COVID, everything's changing. We know that everything's changing, including, the music industry. The whole, there's all this shifting out of types of venues. I mean, I think a lot of the venues that have like outdoor places are still going to do okay, but it's just different. So one of the things that you helped us with, over the holidays is doing that. We commissioned you to do that, like custom holiday concert, and that was great fun. And it's like, dang, more musicians should do that. Do customized concerts for people, and we had a blast. That was.
It was super fun. And also, I mean, I did it right here.
Right.
From my room. I mean, so the load in and load out was really easy.
That's always a big plus. Yeah. I think what we're doing right now is a bit of what has happened to music over the last couple of years. And I've seen a lot of really positive things said about the people that are doing streaming shows, just like you sitting there playing your guitar. And there are a lot of famous folk who are doing that as well. Do you think that will continue after hopefully COVID will be done away with, but right now. There's not a big plus in going out in public, but it's a big plus to be able to get music through this very way of streaming.
Yeah, I think it will continue because I think people realize how much fun it is now.
Mhm.
I don't think people did it before until COVID came along, and then all of a sudden a lot of people did it and realized, hey, this is kind of fun. And plus, it's an easy way to reach listeners because they don't have to leave their house to see you.
Right.
So, and that goes.
I guess you can't play with other people over Zoom because of the latency, right? So you can't really have a band playing together unless they're all in the same place.
Yeah, there's that issue of everything's like a second off.
Right.
It makes so. I mean, you can have like, I don't know. You can have conversations, like you can talk about music, you can take turns playing, right? But it's playing along isn't really something that I've seen where it really works. But I've heard there's new technology now that's allowing it. So I don't really know though what that is.
Yeah, some artists have been able to do that. I think it relates to basically getting a really good internet connection, a really high speed one where there's not that latency problem.
Yeah, we have to
Well, I
get more
suspect-
like parallel
Sessions
processing.
Well, I suspect what they're doing. At least I've seen. I'm thinking about a Rolling Stones thing that I saw, and I was pretty clear that they had recorded their parts separately, and then they had been combined by a really good engineer who could combine the video and audio and sync everything up.
Well, I think.
yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh well, I mean, Nat King Cole and Natalie Cole, that
Right.
version of Unforgettable that
Yeah.
they did. I mean, and then like there's a version of Hank Williams singing one of his songs, "Tear in My Beer," and then Hank Jr. singing with him. It's
Right.
pretty cool.
Right.
It's almost like you can see father and son there, or father and daughter singing together when it never really happened.
Yeah,
Right.
with multi-track recording, that is possible. I have friends that have put together songs by just recording their part, and then they ship the tape over to another band member who has similar equipment, and they do it that way. It's it's a little disjointed, but the stuff I've heard came out sounding like they were really in the same studio.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Beatles did that too with "Free as a Bird."
Mm-hmm.
So you have John Lennon's "Free as a Bird," this high young voice, and then you got these two old guys. Whatever happened to the life that we once knew?
Right. Well, I think one of the good things that's come out of one of the only things that's good that's come out of COVID is there's a marked difference between pre-COVID and post-COVID and the way people interact on Zoom. Just because I've done so much tech support for people over the years, one of the major issues was always terror at being on a video call, right? So that's kind of gone away, which is great. Right. Yeah. And then
not for me.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
And then the other thing was, I know this, I mean, this is the way I was when I was still in Austin. I just didn't want to freaking go downtown. Like the parking, like forget it, being harassed by people. Like I wanted to go see bands, but I didn't want to deal with the drive. So, now like, I have the streaming thing. It's kind of great. And the other thing that's awesome, even if I had gone downtown, it seemed like when I would go see a show, I would get I'm sure the musicians were pissed off as hell, or maybe they didn't care, but I would get so annoyed at the people talking about, their salon appointment or whatever at real high volume while the musician's playing. It's like, I just wanted to go shut the fuck up and watch the show. You're here to see the music, right? So now
you do have this mute control.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And imagine, being on stage. I mean, people are just out there yammering and not paying any attention at all. It doesn't do a whole lot for your feeling good about your music.
Right. Well, and that's
That's part of it too, though. You know.
Yeah, I think Frank Zappa said the easiest way to get the crowd to make noise is play something quiet.
Right. Right.
That's true. Right.
Well, and I think what was so fun, there's the streaming too, which is, useful probably for a lot of your more well-known musicians, right? But I think that we hit on something when we did that bespoke show, because you had a captive audience that was a small group that was interacting with you, and it was so much fun because we were all kind of feeding on each other. So it was like a intimate show thing. And I think there should be more of that. Like instead of, having to a huge crowd, like small, intimate, which I prefer, because that's why I stopped going to big shows, because I just wasn't into the festival thing or whatever. I just wanted to interact with the artists. So.
Well, that's what I like about house concerts. They're intimate, Right. I mean, I've heard a lot of musicians talk about this too, where it's like they want to play the small places again, because when you play in front of a lot of people, it's not very intimate.
Right.
Not that I would know a whole lot about that, but
well, the time you played Shea Stadium, I mean, of course it was just you and some guy mowing the lawn, but other than that, right?
Right. Well, when you're playing to no one, and the good thing about chairs is that they don't get up and leave, and they don't go to the bathroom when you play a slow song.
Right. Right. All right. So how about another song?
All righty. Let's see. Here's one that I wrote. It's called Little Photograph. Little photograph written on the back of a girl I knew. Have you been lonely too? Lonely too. I bet love and doubt that you're lonely now. All that we've been through, have you been lonely too? Lonely too. I've been in love before, but then wouldn't count the cost. I felt to see the story of love and loss. Little photograph written on the back of a girl I knew. Have you been lonely too? Lonely too. Lonely too. Lonely called Little Photograph.
Very nice.
The guitar is such a versatile instrument.
It is.
I was watching the Frank Zappa biopic today, and there was something in there where he was talking about how when he first laid eyes on a guitar, he couldn't imagine how you could get any kind of music out of it, and how fascinated he was to find how truly versatile an instrument it was. And, once he understood how to change the chords and change the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pete Townshend demonstrated how you could also use them as a hammer.
Yes.
Right.
Indeed. You can. Or as firewood.
That's right. Right.
Later on, yes.
So do you have any plans to, sounds like South by is going to try to come back in real life way. Is there any thoughts to joining some sort of outdoor or something somewhere?
Well, maybe. Every year something comes up. People like to have outside yard concerts during that time a lot. That's usually what I play when that comes around.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I've played showcases in the past, but I think the yard concerts are the most fun.
Right.
So yeah, whatever comes up, it's hard to say what I'll do. I don't even know what I'm gonna do like after this. So
right. Yeah. So I guess I won't ask about the thought of touring somewhere, right? Or
well, yeah, I definitely want to tour. I'm thinking about Taos because I can't imagine why. I've seen so many beautiful pictures, and seems like there's a cool scene there. I've done some touring in the past, and I always really liked it. It's super fun. It is once I leave,
Right.
I stress about it for 3 days before and wish I could just stay home and watch TV all week. But then as soon as I leave, the second I actually leave, it's fun and I like it. The last tour I did was up to Ohio and New York. And that was a while ago. It was before COVID. But I did it just on my own. And that was actually probably the most fun because I didn't have other people to worry about.
Yeah, that's always good. Yeah.
Regular indoor concerts are happening now.
Right.
There's a sold out Bob Dylan concert next month at the Bass Concert Hall. And I read every day about concerts that are happening around town. It seems that whether COVID's over or not, people have sort of decided that the hell with it, we're going to start going to concerts again.
I have a suspicion that Pfizer is giving more support to all these so they can get more customers.
Right. Well, I have been reading though that people will buy tickets, but like only a certain percentage show up. Like people just buy them, so they'll have them just in case, and then they don't show up for whatever reason. That I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we did that right at the beginning. We had tickets for a concert that we never did make, and we've bought tickets since then that we didn't make. But I think basically, tickets are expensive. If you can't resell your ticket, I think you're liable to show up. Really, the sense I get is that people have decided that they're not going to let COVID stop them from doing that sort of thing.
Well, I think people are kind of craving it now, because for a year or more, or it persists. We still can't go see each other, or
right.
I think a lot of people are like hug deprived, and
big time, yeah. Yeah.
But then also, I should say to our audience right now, I hope you're enjoying this now because they're probably going to pull this and, tell us we.
Oh, no.
That's right.
And call this disinformation.
That's right. That's right. So what's the farthest west you've ever toured?
Oh, I've only been as far as El Paso. I haven't been very far west at all. All my stuff has been the other direction.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to Seattle once, but I flew there, so I don't know if that counts.
Right.
So,
Well, let's see. What else? Is there something else I was going to ask you? I know there was something else I was going to ask you, but my brain pan's melted. Would you like to do us another song? It looks like we're up to about 4 minutes out to wind up our show.
okay. Well, I've
Yeah,
started
leave
doing
with the song.
I've started doing a classic country thing here in Austin. It was inevitable with being exposed to it. So this is one I wrote. It's called Flowers in the Dirt. Flowers in the dirt, and I'm left standing where they fell with a teardrop from your eye. You were gone before they even landed. As my teardrop fades into the summer night, won't you throw down petals on the ground like the broken part of me that hit ground first? I've stood here long enough, love, to make this poor heart hurt. There ain't nothing left but flowers in the dirt. This never was a lovely bed of roses. I always was, but a thorn stuck in your side. For everyone that blooms, another closes. But I'm wilted now from all the tears that I cried. Won't you throw down petals on the ground like the broken part of me that hit ground first? I stood here long enough, love, to make this poor heart hurt. There ain't nothing left but the flowers in the dirt. There ain't nothing left but the flowers in the dirt. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was fabulous.
Right on. And you didn't mention your pickup truck or your girl, like in her cowboy boots once.
Right? or the saloon or
Whiskey and my friends and
Somebody done somebody wrong. Oh.
or crawling home after the bar.
Well, it's time to crawl home. I was gone.
Yeah, we actually have to crawl home right now. So
Thank you.
thank you, Michael. This was great. Come back again, please.
Thanks, man. This was fun.
right on. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Later.